The people. No candidate who would knowingly keep the border open as terrorists pour across it can ever be trusted to be commander-in-chief. You can't do it. Can't let it happen. If she becomes your president, and I think worse than Biden, and he's gone, he's shot. But if she becomes your president, our country is finished, I'll tell you. In Pennsylvania, your beautiful Commonwealth, it's always good when you remember it's a Commonwealth. He would call it a state often. Remember when Biden I used to love this guy, because you were on pins and needles watching him speak. You know, when's he gonna blow it? And it would always happen. Remember, he'd finish the speech and he couldn't find the stair. Go. And then these handsome men would run up and grab him and help him. And every time I imitate it, the First Lady tells me, why do you keep doing that? Because they keep saying you can't find the stairs off the, you know, you've only got about 9 stairways off the podium. But unlike Kamala Harris, I will keep radical Islamic terrorists the hell out of our country. We're gonna keep them out. We're gonna be safe. We're gonna have a safe place. Fact is, 4 years ago, we were respected like never before. I would say like never before. We were respected by China, by Iran. Look at Iran. Iran is going wild now, aren't they? You know, Iran was broke when I was president. They didn't have money to give to Hamas. They didn't have money to give to Hezbollah. You see what's going on now with Hezbollah now. You're going to end up in a world war. You're going to end up in a third world war pretty soon with this guy between Ukraine and Russia and the stupidity with. I will get that negotiated and ended before I ever take office. I'll do it after the election as president-elect. In addition to her atrocious record on border security, Kamala Harris would also obliterate Pennsylvania's economy. You know about that. She's against fracking. She's against oil drilling. She wants everybody to have one electric car and share it with the neighbors. Harris has stated repeatedly that she supports, quote, banning fracking. I ban fracking. I will ban it on my first day. Now she's denying it. Remember, a politician always goes back to what their original thought was, right? And she co-sponsored the $100 trillion Green New scam designed to abolish the oil, coal, and natural gas industries entirely. We have more liquid gold under our feet than Saudi Arabia, than Russia by far. And under me, we took it from 4th place and 3rd place. We took it to 1st place by a lot. We were energy independent, soon to be energy dominant. We were going to make so much money. We were going to pay off debt and reduce your taxes still further. Now, you can't do anything with these lunatics. Under a Harris presidency, 423,000 Pennsylvania jobs are linked to fracking. They'd all be demolished. She's against fracking. She's not going to allow you to frack. She's not going to allow you to frack. And the only reason they're allowing it now, you know, they cut it way back. That's what caused the inflation. And then he opened it up again back to the Trump days. He opened it up to the same because it's similar, because he wanted to try and get reelected. They didn't know his party was going to overthrow him. It was a coup. This was a coup of a president. He will be famous. He will be more famous for the coup than the bad job he's done, okay? But this was a coup of the President of the United States. This was like a South American, you know, you read about South America, every week they have a coup. And they also do the attacks on political opponents, by the way. Your economy would take a $41 billion hit. This is Pennsylvania. Gutting billions of dollars from your state and local budgets, slashing funding for your schools and police forces, and plunging Pennsylvania into severe economic depression. Enjoy it. Look, if they get in, your state is screwed. Your state is, you guys are screwed. Good luck, everybody. Have fun in Congress, Mike. But I will never let that happen. But you don't need to take my word for it alone. Kamala's anti-American energy crusade. Let's just listen to her. Now, she's a totally, oh, no, I love fracking. Let's just see what her video says. She had it taped just a little while ago. Let's go.
Will you commit to implementing a federal ban on fracking your first day in office, adding the United States to the list of countries who have banned this devastating practice?
There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking.
Okay? If I said that, nobody would believe it. So, and that's where she is. She's a radical left person who destroyed San Francisco, and she'll destroy the country just like she did California and San Francisco. She was the leader of that pack that destroyed San Francisco. It's not only Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom, he's another beauty. Oh, we're doing great in the state. Everyone's leaving. We're doing great. The state's doing wonderfully. They do have wonderful weather, and it's a beautiful place, but it's overridden with crime. He's doing such a terrible job. He's a con man. You know, I watched him in the great Sean Hannity show, and he was saying like, no, the state's never done better, never done. It's all a fake. It's all lies. The state is a disaster. They're moving to Texas, Florida, Tennessee. They're moving to a lot of North Carolina, South Carolina. When we win this November, we will end the Biden-Harris war on American energy, and we will end their terrible war on fracking. Fracking is incredible. The money you make in Pennsylvania, you could quadruple your taxes. If you lost that industry, you could quadruple your taxes. The policy of the Trump administration will be to drill, baby, drill. Right? Right? I will also terminate the Biden-Harris electric vehicle mandate on day one and save the U.S. auto industry from destruction. We are going to rebuild our auto industry, and the United Auto Workers are mostly going to vote for me, but, you know, they have a head of the United Auto Workers who's a fool. He's giving our auto industry to China by allowing this electric mandate to even be thought of. And again, I'm all for electric cars. There's a certain little section that wants to have electric. I can understand that, but it's a small section. They want to have gasoline-powered cars. They want to have hybrids, and they're going to have that. They don't want to stop every 15 minutes. They refuse to stop. You know, I have a friend of mine got an electric car, and he was used to driving from Kentucky, great state, to Washington, and he'd drive, and, you know, he'd drive it. That would be it. Now he's driving it. He had to stop 6 times. He said, what the hell is going on? He thought it was good for the environment. It's not good for, you know, he's a idealistic kind of guy. I think I'm going to do something good for the environment. He got rid of that thing so fast, your head would spin. And it's great if you want to go to the candy store and back. Then you plug it in your garage. It's no wonder the Democrat Party and their thugs are so desperate to stop us. They know that we are the only ones who can stop them. The only ones. You know, this is a movement, Make America Great Again. This is a movement the likes of which no country but our country has never seen before. MAGA. MAGA! No country's ever seen anything like it. Remember when Biden would get up, we will stop MAGA. He had no idea. I said, Joe, do you know what it means? No, not really. No, it means Make America Great Again. We don't want to stop it. All of their persecution is only happening because I am running for president and leading big in the polls. Oh, if I wasn't, I wouldn't have any of these lawsuits. Oh, they wouldn't be suing me because I'm breaking their ass also. They wouldn't be suing me. They're doing this because I'm running and I'm leading by a lot. We're leading by a lot in this state, by the way, in this Commonwealth. We're leading by a lot in our Commonwealth. The radical left Democrats rigged the presidential election in 2020, and we're not going to allow them to rig the presidential election of 2024. We're not going to allow it to happen. And every time the radical left Democrats, Marxists, communists, and fascists indict me, I consider it a great badge of honor. Thank you very much. Because I'm being indicted for you. Did you like my mugshot? Did you like the mugshot? Lovely. My father's looking down, my mother and father, they're looking down because they're definitely in heaven. They made heaven. They're great. They're looking down, they said, I can't believe my son took a mugshot. This is unbelievable. But it's the #1 selling mugshot in history. It beat Elvis, and it beat Frank Sinatra. Did you know that? Frank Sinatra had a big one. Did you know he got arrested for something? And I think Elvis had a fight at a gas station or something. But Elvis was one, Frank Sinatra was two, and I'm proud to admit, and I'm proud to tell you that you have made mine bigger than both of them by a lot. It's the biggest selling mugshot ever. And I still haven't figured out whether or not I'm happy about it. I'm not sure. In one way, I'm thrilled. In another way, I'm not sure I like it. Never forget, our enemies want to take away my freedom because I will never let them take away your freedom, which is true. They want to silence me because I will never let them silence you. And in the end, they are not after me, they're after you. I just happen to be standing in their way, and I will continue to stand in their way. I will always be here. I'll be here. I don't know. I'm getting tired of protecting you, but I love it. We're going to protect you. We're going to go. And soon you won't need protection because soon you're going to have a great country again. It's true. You won't need protection. The country will protect you. But think of it. I say this to... I got indicted more than Al Capone, the great Al Capone. Can you imagine? Al Capone, Scarface, the meanest man you've ever met. I have him beat. But we're pleased to be joined today by some fantastic Pennsylvania patriots, friends of mine, incredible people, starting with the next U.S. Senator from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, David McCormick. He's incredible. Come up. David, come up here. Come. He's a military hero. And honestly, you know, your senator, I don't think I ever met him in 4 years. Nobody knows who he is. It's the weirdest thing. It's almost like, how do they keep getting elected? You got to elect this guy. He's a war hero. He's a national hero. He's a brilliant man. He went out, he made a fortune and all that stuff. That's a good thing, not a bad thing. It means he's smart, right? Do we agree? It means he's smart. You guys didn't make that much, but you're very smart anyway. But David has been a friend of mine. He's an incredible man and respected all over the place. And you know, you have one chance to get a guy like this in. A lot of people, after watching my experience, they're not doing this anymore, are they? So I'd like to introduce Dave McCormick, a great guy. Hopefully he's going to be your next senator. You're going to win, and you're going to win big, David.
Thank you. Thank you, President Trump. Thank you so much, all of you. And listen, in Pennsylvania, we know, Mr. President, this is the most important election of our lifetime. We know it. And we also know that this is ground zero, which is going to put you back in the White House and a majority in the Senate. Right here, sir. Right here in Pennsylvania. And I want to welcome you back to Pennsylvania after Butler. We're so glad you're here, sir. Thank you. Thank you for being here. And I want to say what you all know, which is this is an incredibly important choice because we can continue to have the failed, horrible policies of Biden, Harris, and Casey. And I say Casey because he votes 98% of the time, that destroys our economy, open borders, the fentanyl crisis, crime, the war on fossil fuels. But it only gets worse. It only gets worse under Harris, Casey. It only gets worse. And that is why we need strong leadership, common sense leadership. And when I go on the campaign trail, Mr. President, the thing I hear that people want most is strength. And I tell them, listen, I'm a combat veteran. I'm an Army wrestler. And when I was standing there in Butler and saw those bullets flying, and I've seen people get shot at before, and you came up and put that fist in the air and said, fight, fight, fight. I said to everybody, that's strength. That's what we need for America. That's why we're going to win on November 5th. God bless this Commonwealth.
Wow. That's great. You know, David, it is true. David was in Butler, and he was sitting exactly there. And you know, Corey was sitting right behind him. Can you imagine? Corey was killed. He was sitting right behind David. And David didn't flinch. He didn't move. I mean, some people moved. Actually, I think it was really known that when bullets are fired in a stadium, everyone really gets moving fast. They call it a stampede. Nobody moved. You looked at the people behind me, right? Everyone's seen those people. Those people have become legendary. That was just a small group. The main tens of thousands of people around here, you couldn't even see the end. Nobody ran, nobody moved. They knew I was in trouble. They said, he's in trouble. If you went to a soccer stadium where you'll have a bullet go off, one bullet, the whole place runs for the exits. Nobody ran. And how about the man behind me with the black outfit and the green floppy hat? He's like this. David, did you see him? He's right there. He's standing. He's looking, right? Where? Get up here. Is that him? Yeah, that's... Wow. That's great, huh? Well, you're good. You can be in a foxhole with me anytime, man. Wow. Thank you. That's great. That was a hell of a day, huh? But there were a number of them back there. They were just brave. Everybody. There was nobody that fled. I think nobody fled, right? They were brave people, and they were looking, and they were pointing. They saw it. They were pointing. It was incredible. And one of these crowd control people that came in afterwards said, they've never seen it where bullets are fired. And I'll tell you something. David was standing and sitting right, literally, the bullets were going over your head. They were going over my head, too, the second group. But you weren't a flincher either, were you? You weren't. And Corey, right alongside of you, right behind him. And you got to vote for this man. He's a hero, and he's a great gentleman. He'll be a great senator. And it's time for a change. Time for a change. I mean that. A vote for Dave McCormick is a vote to seal our border, stop migrant crime, defeat inflation, bring down prices, and defend Pennsylvania energy. You have to defend your energy. They will not allow fracking. If they got in, her first move will be to end fracking all throughout the United States. Dave is running against truly not a good member. I don't like to be disrespectful. He's been there a long time, but Bob Casey is a stiff. He's a stiff. Nobody knows who the hell he is. I don't think I've ever gone to a meeting where he's been in the meeting, Mike. Mike has been in the meeting. Dan has been in the meeting. Scott is at too many meetings, right? No, I don't think I've ever been to a meeting where Casey's even been there. And I've been to a lot of meetings with a lot of senators, but, you know, he just sort of goes along year after year. His father was there, he's there. We want to have a great warrior. Dave, good luck. Good luck. Thank you, Dave. Vote for him. We're pleased to be joined today by some really fantastic people, some, I would say, truly great warriors. And if you could, maybe Congress people, just stand up, right? Just stand up. Scott Perry, Mike Kelly, G.T. Thompson, G.T., hi, Dan Muser, Lloyd Smucker. These are unbelievable warriors. These are great fighters. And if you can add David, it's going to be an unbeatable combination. Pennsylvania Treasurer, thank you very much, fellas. You've done a great job. You've done a great job. Pennsylvania Treasurer Stacey Garrity. Lancaster County Commissioner Josh Parsons. Great job, Josh. Jim Worthington, who's a fantastic man. Thank you. Thank you, Jim. Nice to see you. And two people that are amazing, very talented, very incredible people. One is a spokesman for a lawyer, by the way, but a great spokesman, truly committed to make America great, and me, but truly committed to make America great, which is more important than me, more important. I mean, it's just something special. She has been an incredible person going around and letting people know how important our country is, how we love our country. Alina Habba. Alina, stand up, Alina. I didn't know she was going to be here today. And another person, one of the most talented writers, a person who truly has the pulse of this area, Pennsylvania, and the Rust Belt in general. The Rust Belt is her territory. Nobody covers it better. Salina Zito. Salina, where are you, Salina? Where are you? Thank you. She's a great writer. We're also joined by Tiffany Hall, a single mother of four from Columbia, Pennsylvania, who wants to tell us firsthand what the Biden-Harris inflation nightmare has done to her family. It's destroyed her family. Tiffany, please come up, please. Thank you. Thank you, Tiffany. This is happening all over America because of inflation, by the way. Thanks, Tiffany. Thank you, darling. Go have fun. Oh, that's okay. Go, you go.
Thank you very much. So, gas prices are just astronomical. Being able to afford anything for my children anymore, like sports, is just kind of out of the question now. When President Trump was in, I could do these things with them. Since then, I've not been able to. I can't put them into sports. I can't go on extravagant vacations anymore. We can go to free parks around here. I miss it. I miss when we didn't have to pull out of our pockets for things. I'm hoping we can get back to a point where I'm financially stable. You will. And others, I know I can't be the only one. We're all going to the gas pump and be like, man, here goes the last of what I have. I know. I would like to be able to go into a grocery store again and not have to put something back or say, nope, we can't do a nice cake from the bakery. We have to try and do one from home. So I really hope and pray that we can make America great again and get you back in office.
Wow, thank you, Tiffany. So cute. You know, she said, oh, I can't believe it. I left my notes down on her seat. I said, just go and wing it. And she did better. You did better than if you had your notes, Tiffany. I have to be honest. That's great. You did better. Thank you. Appreciate it. Things like that happen. I said, well, give it a shot. She did better. Starting on day one of the Trump administration, we will end inflation and we will make America great again. We will deliver regulation cuts, energy price cuts, interest rate cuts, and we will drive prices down, and we'll drive them down very fast. We will pass massive tax cuts for workers, and that includes no tax on tips. To protect Pennsylvania jobs, I will revoke China's most favored nation trade status. I will pass the Trump Reciprocal Trade Act. If China or any other country makes us pay a 100 or 200% tariff or tax, we will make them pay a reciprocal tariff or tax of 100 or 200% right back. You hurt us and we hurt you. It's an eye for an eye. Before I even arrive at the Oval Office shortly after we win the presidency, and it's we win the presidency, I mean that, I will have the horrible war between Russia and Ukraine settled. And I am the only one that can say it. I know all the players, and they respect us, they respect me, and they used to respect our country, but no longer. I will prevent World War III. That's where we're heading. We're heading to World War III, and you see it. I will restore peace through strength. Over and over again, our enemies have watched Biden and Harris signal a lack of will, total weakness to do what's necessary to protect American people and stand up for our allies. A week ago, the Prime Minister of our closest Middle Eastern ally, Israel, came to address Congress. You saw that. Instead of sending a clear signal that The United States will never abandon an ally, a very important one. Kamala chose to politicize the moment, to grandstand, making a show of refusing to attend. You know where she was? She went to a sorority party. Can you believe it? Even though it was her duty as president of the Senate to be there, it was her duty to be there. Her Democrat allies fell in line. Chuck Schumer refused to shake the Israeli prime minister's hand. Chuck Schumer has become a Palestinian. Yes, has. Can you believe it? He's become a proud member of Hamas. Nancy Pelosi likewise denounced the speech in shameful terms. You know, 15 years ago, Israel had the strongest, most powerful lobby in this country. Now it's almost the opposite, with AOC +3 and all the people, the enemies of our country in a true sense. But they are, and the enemies, when they saw these people abandon Israel, they took note. And I don't think it's accidental that just 4 days after Harris and Biden repudiated our Israeli allies, Iran's top terrorist group, Hezbollah, fired an Iranian missile to kill 12 innocent children at a soccer field in northern Israel. Happened right after he left. With great embarrassment, he left. The terrorists did it because they assumed they could get away with it because the United States is weak and ineffective and no longer respected. We are no longer respected. We are a failing nation. I mean, it's horrible. You don't want to say it. I wish I didn't have to say it. I wish I could say they're doing a phenomenal job. I wouldn't run. I wouldn't have to run. I would be very happy to have somebody do a phenomenal job. I wouldn't have to run. And I'd be very happy with that. I'd be proud of our country. But right now, our country is a joke. It's being laughed at all over the world. The truth is, Harris and Biden's weakness is inviting every rogue enemy worldwide to absolutely get away with murder. In my next term, we will build a great Iron Dome missile defense shield over our country, a dome like has never been seen before. And it will be entirely made in the USA and right here in Pennsylvania, big sections of it. And I will cut, remember this, I will cut all of the bad talk about Social Security. They're going to destroy your Social Security, but I will not cut 1 cent from Social Security or Medicare. And I kept my promise for 4 years that I will keep it again. And seniors should not pay taxes on Social Security. And they won't. They won't. There are the people. It's up to you. No tax on Social Security. By contrast, Kamala cast a tie-breaking vote to cut Medicare. You saw this? By $237 billion in a heartless betrayal of American seniors. We're going to rebuild our cities into beacons of hope, safety, and beauty better than they have ever been before. We will take over the horribly run capital of our nation in Washington, D.C., clean it up, renovate it, fix it, rebuild it. We will again have the most beautiful capital anywhere in the world, and there will be no crime allowed. Very strong. Right now, you go there, you get mugged, you get shot. On day one, I will sign a new executive order to cut federal funding for any school pushing critical race theory, transgender insanity, and other inappropriate racial, sexual, or political content onto the lives of our children. And I will not give 1 penny to any school that has a vaccine mandate or a mask mandate. And I will keep men out of women's sports. How simple is that? I will fully uphold our Second Amendment, as I did for 4 years. We just got the backing of the NRA, complete and total endorsement from the NRA. We will protect innocent life, and we will restore free speech to our country again. And very importantly, I will secure our elections. Our goal will be one-day voting with paper ballots, proof of citizenship, voter ID. We're going to do it. We're going to do it. A lot of other countries are doing it. The mail-in voting isn't working. It's corrupt. But until then, Republicans must win. We want to have a landslide because the best way to protect against the rigging, and these people know it, is too big to rig. There's a level at which they can't cheat. So if you want to save America, get your friends, get your family, get everyone you know and vote. Vote early, vote absentee, vote on election day. I don't care when you vote, but whatever you do, you have to vote and make sure your ballot counts. Because these people cheat. They cheat like dogs. And if you want to help us ensure election integrity, sign up at protectthevote.com. Protectthevote.com. And in conclusion, from Easton to Hershey, from Jamestown to Allentown, and from Pittsburgh to right here in beautiful Harrisburg. Love Harrisburg. We got a lot of votes in Harrisburg. We stand on the shoulders of American legends who poured out their blood, sweat, and tears for our rights and for our freedom. Pennsylvania is where our founding fathers declared America independence. Think of that. Think of the history that this great place is. Beautiful Pennsylvania. Think of the history that you have. It's where the Army weathered its brutal winter at Valley Forge, where General George Washington would never taken his name off any buildings they'd like to. When they want to take Washington, Lincoln, and Jefferson off, it ain't gonna happen. But it will happen under her. George Washington led his men on a daring mission across the Delaware, and where the Union was saved by the immortal heroes at Gettysburg. Gettysburg, wow. Gettysburg. And this is the state where generations of tough, strong Pennsylvania miners and steelworkers forged the greatest nation in the history of the world. But now we are a nation in serious decline. We are a failing nation. We are a nation that has lost its confidence, lost its willpower, and lost its strength. We are a nation that has lost, quite simply, its way. But we are not going to allow this horror to continue. Less than 4 years ago, we were a great nation, and we will soon be a great nation again. Soon be. With our leadership, every disaster Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have created can be fixed, and be quick, very quickly. We're going to do it so quickly. Remember, I used to tell the story, we're going to win, right? We're going to win so much, you're going to get tired of winning. We're going to win. We're going to start winning. Please, Mr. President, we're winning too much. We can't take it anymore. We're going to win. Every problem can be solved, and every wrong can be rectified. By this time next year, America's borders will be strong, sealed, and secure. Inflation will be a full thing of the past. It will be in full retreat. Our economy will be roaring back. Optimism will be surging. The American dream will be thriving again for citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed. Law and justice will reign all throughout our land. Freedom will be restored. The flame of liberty will be burning bright. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, the worst administration in the history of our country, will be a fading memory of the past, and our great silent majority, including the once forgotten men and women of our country, will be the ones shaping America's magnificent future when I am the 47th President of the United States. Because we are all Americans, and together we will show November 5th to be the most important day in the history of our country. We are one movement, one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. And together we will make America powerful again. Make America wealthy again. Make America strong again. Make America proud again. Make America safe again. Make America free again. And we will make America great again. Thank you, Pennsylvania. God bless you. God bless you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
All right, President Trump there in Pennsylvania, very important state. Boy, the president was fired up tonight off that teleprompter.
Man,
a lot of comedic relief there. He was hopping there tonight
on his game. Wow.
I was listening to the first part of this in the car. There was parts I was laughing out loud when he was talking about his speechwriters. It could be the most beautiful speech. The sun is setting. The moon is beautiful. The oceans are glistening.
But bang!
Oh man, he had some rippers in there. Now, what was really an extraordinary day for President Trump in front of the cameras, which we'll talk about. But this rally in Pennsylvania, the president seems fresh.
Yeah,
he seems energized.
Looks good.
And what's going to be?
I think the earlier speech with the what are they called? The black female journalists or something like that. I think
National
that kind of
Association of Black Journalists.
Yeah,
yes.
I think that fired him up. I think that kind of got him into a flow. So you know what? This was a top notch speech.
It was
top notch.
I agree.
Yeah, president was fired up tonight. It was good. Covered all the topics, but man, went in a couple of different directions that we hadn't heard. He threw some new things in there. Now that Kamala is in there. Pennsylvania, obviously a very important state.
Yeah.
And it'll be right in the center of all the news here coming up because of what I think Kamala is going to be doing. At least we know she'll be in Pennsylvania on Tuesday, we think, to announce her VP pick. But let's go back out to the venue. Our own Tara Dahl is there. She joins us now. Tara, the president seemed energized, fired up, a lot of comedic relief tonight. Seemed on top of his game like always. Bring me in the room there. What's the feeling in there? Huge crowd?
It was a huge crowd. There were thousands that could not get in tonight, guys. People were camping overnight to be able to see President Trump, and the crowd was fired up. But some of the key things that they really got fired up, standing ovation, was when he mentioned the deportations. Anytime he mentioned having the largest deportation, the crowd stood up and cheered. So they love to hear that, of the policies that he would do, Social Security policies that he would implement as president. But what really stood out, he does so many rallies, but what was special about tonight too is he really kind of spoke personally on what happened in Butler. You heard that, he kind of gave examples. There was a guy in the audience that he was talking about that was right behind him and was so calm, and he pointed him out in the audience. It was very personal tonight, and some of the key things were too, and how he just was talking about Kamala and how she had actually said, that she would ban fracking, and she believed in banning fracking, and he said they wouldn't believe me if I didn't show it. So he played the video. So there's a lot on how his presidency would be very different than Kamala's, but the crowd was all fired up tonight. They're still fired up now.
Yeah, and make a good point. I love the fact they played the video because, let's face it, Kamala's not going to, people are complaining about the president today going into the National Association of Black Journalists conference where he came up against basically 2 out of the 3 who wanted to prove how tough they were, the journalists there asking questions. But Kamala's not facing any questions like that. She'd never go into a room like that. She's not getting any questions from the media. She's answering no questions of any substance. But let me ask you about the other people in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is going to be the center of most of the news, I figure, for the next week because Kamala Harris is going there Tuesday. Supposedly, she's going to probably announce a VP pick. A lot of people, including myself, are speculating that she's seriously looking at the governor of Pennsylvania. What are you hearing from people in Pennsylvania on the ground? What do they think about Shapiro on the ticket? And what do they think about the whole Jewish angle of Kamala Harris, who clearly supports the enemy here? I don't believe has even spoken out about this latest attack from Hezbollah. What do they think? What are they thinking on the ground there in Pennsylvania?
Yeah, they have thought that he was possibly going to be a VP pick for a while, and they do think that he is going to be, but they said that he aligns very much with Harris, and I don't think it's going to strengthen her position in any kind of way, because when you look at his record, like here in Pennsylvania, well, look at Philadelphia, homicides have gone up 38% just since 2023. So if you're going to look at, what the American people are concerned about, and that's illegal immigration, what has he done for illegal immigration? What has he done on crime? And so what has he done in the state? He agrees with her on banning fracking. And so he is Jewish, but her husband is also Jewish as well, and has been part of the Democratic anti-Semitic policies that Biden has been pushing. And so if he has been pushing any, so I don't think that the whole Jewish angle is going to help her in any way at all. She is going to take her radical anti-Israel, pro-Hamas. We know that she is soft on Iran. She has proven that. We know that all of what she has said in the past has been anti-Israel, pro-Palestinians. And so one thing that I really got a kick out of President Trump tonight was when he said Senator Schumer has turned into a Palestinian. That also was something. I think that's what you're going to see with a Kamala Harris. That's what you're going to see with a Kamala Harris presidency. Pro-terrorist.
Yeah. Yeah, well, the whole administration has been pro the enemy so far. I can't see that it doesn't continue. The thing is, we have a lot of talk about the debates and President Trump kind of, people are saying, oh, he's not going to debate or he's backing out. And, of course, his position as well. We'd like to see who the actual nominee is first. Let's let her get the delegates and actually get through the convention, and then we can talk about debates. But, the more you see the media in the remaking of Kamala and see her trying to move right on things, on positions that she's held her whole career, I think right now I might be more interested in Kamala 2024 debating Kamala 2020 more than I am in Trump debating her. What do you think of that?
Yeah, that's a good point. Because the media is trying to completely remake every single position that she has taken. I mean, keep in mind, she is a radical leftist. She was voted the most radical senator in 2019. Just in 2023, the media, there were articles that were voting her the worst president in the U.S. history, the worst president, and they were pressuring Biden to get a new VP candidate. And now all of a sudden the media is just propping her up. It's amazing how she is doing this complete new identity, and it's the media who's pushing it. It's insane.
Yeah. Tara Dahl on location, President Trump tonight. Tara, great stuff as always. Thanks for giving us a few moments.
Thanks, guys.
All right, the great Tara Dahl there on site. Trump tonight, really fired up. Great stuff from the president. And, earlier in the day, well, first of all, what'd you think, Rick?
Of which? Of Tara? Tara's awesome.
Yeah, no, but awesome. Of President Trump overall, what we just talked about there with her, the whole, kind of where we are, Pennsylvania, Shapiro, the whole deal.
Yeah, again, I throw it back to something I said when his name first came up. They're going to have a real problem if they pick Shapiro. The anti-Semite wing of the Democratic Party, which seems to be, about half these days, is really going to have a problem. I guess they're going to have to throw away states like Minnesota and Michigan because, according to Democrats, that's where a big portion of their vote is coming from for all the anti-Semites that live there. So the Democrat, and this is a problem they made for themselves, right? They embrace this kind of radicalism and this type of hatred, and then all of a sudden it explodes, and they're like, well, what are you supposed to do with that now? Good luck. Let us know how it works out. And as far as Shapiro and or at least very much the vice president's husband, as Sid Rosenberg, friend of the show, told President Trump,
love Sid, calls
him a bad Jewish person. He's bad. He doesn't support Israel, so he's not a very good Jewish person. So, I saw that today on social media. Sid was putting that out a lot because he said that to the president himself.
Yeah. So earlier in the day, so we're waiting J.D. Vance, by the way. We're going to also cover his speech tonight. He's slated to speak around 9 o'clock. And we don't have anything to let us know that he's going to be dramatically late. So we've got that. Do we have that? We've got that shot up. Okay, we're waiting for J.D. Vance. Should be around 9 o'clock, so we'll do the show until then, and then we'll take J.D. Vance's speech, and then we'll be back after he's done as well. So Trump goes to the National Association of Black Journalists today. Mm-hmm. Gets invited. Both camps got invited. Kamala didn't want to go, or whatever. Backed out. Didn't show up. And Trump, of course, he always says, anywhere, anytime, shows up like a boss and goes in there. And, if you're a Trump supporter, what you saw today was just Donald Trump. Yeah. And actually you saw Donald Trump engaged, responding quickly, answering the questions, and talking and saying how he feels. Now, if you're not a Trump supporter, obviously you were clutching your pearls and listen to what he's saying. In the end, it's probably a net negative. It's probably a net zero if I had to really guess from the day. Of course, people are making it like this is some big deal. But I thought the president was actually, given what he was up against, which was someone who is out to prove how smart she is, and she's smarter than everybody else, and to act tough for all of her compadres in the media who are watching her. I thought the president was very good.
Yeah.
So we'll talk more about it. We'll do some sports while we have some time when we get back. Live from Studio 6B on a Wednesday night. All right, we're still live. We're back. No commercial break for you. No commercial break for you. We're waiting for JD Vance. Should be around top of the hour.
That was a great break. I really got a chance to get my thoughts together.
Cool. Soup.
Got to hear a cool tune there going to the top.
Cream of mushroom soup.
So,
but you were talking about the...
Yeah, so this girl clearly was out. This girl from ABC, hack journalist, obviously had a plan. Obviously was going to try to Megyn Kelly her first question, to do the old Megyn Kelly treatment, like the debate, and come out of the box and try to impress what I guess she thought she was going to impress the audience. But more importantly, she was out because she was going to impress all of her compadres in the media on how tough she is. Oh, this is my shot. I got him. I'm going to watch this. And she just ends up sounding like a hack journalist that we already know she is. And Trump sat there and handled it. Quite frankly, I thought he handled it fantastically.
Yeah. I mean, I watched a lot of this. I was able to watch a lot of this, and I was actually, I thought it was going to be a net positive at the end of the day, because there are people there that probably had preconceived notions that only believe what they're being told by the people like her and her running mate sitting in between her and Harris Faulkner from Fox. That, he's evil, he's this, he's that. And he came off and he dispelled, I thought, a lot of that stuff. Because, again, like you said, he was just himself.
And did you listen to the audience?
Yeah, the audience was...
That's why people on the left talking about this tonight, you never see it. They're not posting any videos of it.
No.
They're just typing away. Yeah, and those videos.
The audience was eating him up because he was just being blunt and being honest and being truthful. He wasn't trying to sugarcoat or glaze over anything. When he could actually hear the question, I guess between him and Harris there was some microphone and earphone problems going back and forth where they really couldn't hear each other. But for the main girl there and the middle one, I thought he handled them pretty deftly. So you know what? I thought it was a good look. He comes off like he always comes off, especially in those types of engagements where he's more talking to, where it seems like he's just talking to one or two people as opposed to what we just saw, him standing up there making a speech. So,
smart people, in the end, I don't care what color they are, want smart people leading them. And they want tough people leading them. They don't want people who blow smoke up there, what. They're sick of that. This is why his support in the black communities and these other communities have continued to go up, because they're on to the game of the media, and especially people like Allison, whatever her name is, from ABC. They're on to it. They're not living in the past like these people want to keep us, who talk about it, who pull things like she pulled today. They're not living in the past. They're not listening to the nonsense. Smart people want smart people to lead them. Tough people want tough people to lead them. And he walked in there and answered every question, and he was himself. And he answered the questions with just the plain facts, which they don't want to hear.
Yeah.
They don't want to hear Kamala Harris is flip-flopping on whatever she's running as. Oh, when she first ran, she was the first Asian American Pacificer this, that, and then she's the first Indian this, and now she's black. And then, I mean, there's nothing untruthful about what he said.
Oh.
You can.
And the crowd responded to that. Whether they want to admit it or not, they responded to that positively. They were laughing along with it. Because I think they, some of them kind of realize it. Like, yeah, we never really considered her one of us because we've never really heard of her before until she needed our vote.
True.
Yeah. All right, we're waiting for J.D. Vance. Let's go out to where's he? He's still in. Where are we tonight? With our own David Zier is somewhere.
Where are we?
Arizona. They're in Arizona. They're not in Nevada. Let's go out to Arizona.
Southwest.
David Zier is there. Mr. Zier, what's going on?
Hey guys, missed you guys back in New York. It's been a whirlwind. We just landed about a half hour ago on the ground from Fresno in the San Joaquin Valley, and before that Reno, and before that Las Vegas. It's a whirlwind tour here. J.D. Vance on the ground. Big crowds, guys, big crowds. Bigger than Biden's gotten, 5 to 10 times bigger than Biden has gotten in recent years. 3,000 in Henderson, 2,500 in Reno. This place is jam-packed. I can't even tell how many in here in Glendale. So I got a chance on Trump-Vance 2 to do an interview, audio only, with J.D. Vance, that I posed a question to him, and he talked about Chicago also. And hopefully you guys got those assets. Maybe you can play them. But it's been an epic journey, and J.D. Vance has been doing really well. And I agree with you guys. I think just Trump putting himself in that situation is a victory, right? He's unafraid.
So, David, set the scene with the people out there. We were just talking to Tara Dahl about the people on the ground in Pennsylvania. And obviously, Josh Shapiro is going to be in the middle of what we think will be a VP pick maybe on Tuesday. Pennsylvania will be in the news. Arizona, another important state. Set the scene out there from people you're speaking to, people who are there tonight to listen to the vice president. What are the vice presidential candidate? What do they want to hear from him? What's the feeling from people on the ground?
Well, being on the ground in Henderson and Reno, I really got a chance to interact. People are hurting, service worker economies, and especially in Nevada. I haven't had a chance to listen to real American voices on the ground here yet because we just came in with the motorcade. But it's the same thing. It's the border, it's the economy, it's national security, people living on retirement, a lot of veterans not getting services in the VA like they did under Trump, who improved it, allowing them to choose their own health insurance, and then reducing the wait times when like 40 people died under the Obama administration in the VA wait times. Things were better under Donald Trump, and that's the mission. And this is working class, and I pressed J.D. Vance on that. I said, is the no tips, no taxes on tips agenda and your working class background going to help bring Sam Brown over the top in Nevada, Carrie Lake over the top in Arizona, and the Rust Belt states, along with his message of relating to the working class. So in the Rust Belt, I think it will have an effect. Remains to be seen in Nevada and Arizona, but I think so. So he's got momentum, and once the air clears about them attacking him on everything, which they will do nonstop for the next 96 days or so, but I think that his message will resonate with the people. They're all hurting, guys. They're all hurting.
So, David, let's talk a little bit about the VP presidential candidate here, J.D. Vance, who we're going to hear from. Last night, we got to hear a little bit of his speech, kind of for the first time, at least for me. Being around him, you said you talked to him today. How do you feel like he's kind of settled into the candidacy? Do you feel like he's had a rough spot? Does he feel like he's kind of in it now? And then looking forward to possibly a matchup with a Josh Shapiro-esque kind of governor from Pennsylvania, another guy who they will tell you will connect with people in the Rust Belt. How do you think he matches up with someone, if it is him, how do you think he matches up with someone him? Tell me about the candidate, how he's feeling right now.
I got to tell you, and there's talk around J.D. Vance that it's very presidential. You know, their operation they got going here, outside of the Secret Service, which was just incredible, and local law enforcement, he's very comfortable. He's very comfortable. He came right up to me on the tarmac. He doesn't know who I am unless he watches Rav. And he came up, shook my hand, went around. He didn't have to stop for us. He could have went right into the motorcade, and he did that every time we stopped over the last 24 hours in 3 different locations. He stopped to talk to us. He engaged us yesterday. We talked about toffee that was handed out to the press pool on the plane. He's very comfortable, and he's very sharp, and he looks you in the eye when he talks to you. He doesn't have like a real phony politician feel to him when you engage, regardless of your party affiliation and whether you're Republican or Democrat. I think J.D. Vance is pretty comfortable, and listen, he's a little bit of an independent thinker, right? But he is, I think he's solid right now. We're going to throw to the stage, right, guys? And, I'll be back.
All right, David Zier, thank you very much for a few moments out there in Arizona. We'll be back for J.D. Vance when he takes the stage. What do you think of that, Delgado? What do you think of J.D. Vance? We heard his speech for the first time, really last night for the first time. A little short and sweet, but you think he's settling into the role?
I hope so. I think it's going to be something where, he might come off that way, one-on-one. But, like we saw with Governor DeSantis, once you get on the national stage, things I think it takes a different turn that they maybe weren't expecting. Like, oh, it's just going to be the same as Florida. Oh, it's going to be the same as Ohio. And all of a sudden, it's like, this is a little different.
Big arena.
It's a bigger arena. There's more eyeballs on you. Everything's going to be, scrutinized that much more. So I think there's a kind of a comfortability factor and a learning curve he's going to have to kind of adjust to. But hopefully all these things that he's doing, getting out and meeting people and talking and stopping here and stopping there, hopefully that gets him up to speed, on the national level, because that's what the ticket needs. Another surrogate, and the vice president, potential vice president out there sharing the same message and pushing the alerting the voters that, hey, a new day is coming. So hopefully that's the case.
He'll settle in.
I think he will. Listen, I love the fact that you got a 4-decade difference between President Trump and J.D. Vance, right? He's 78, 79, President Trump, J.D. Vance, 39. We need that young vote. I really do hope he settles in. I think Rick made a great point. I think the arena was very big last night for his first speech coming out, and I really hope he knocks it out of the park tonight. I'm a big fan. I was a little critical of him last night, not because I don't love him and support him. Listen, whoever Donald Trump, he could have chose Snoopy the dog. I don't care. I would be obviously behind whoever Trump supports and whoever he picks, but I want to see JD really knock it out of the park. Bring in that young vote. We need that young vote, and I'm hoping he can cross over and bring in some of that on the fence blue vote that we need, those people that are willy-nilly. I hope that's what he can do that. I hope he's an inspiration. Sharp-looking young man, military, Big D. He's got all the credentials, and I'm just looking for him to grow into being an even better speaker, and hopefully we see that tonight.
Yeah, smart guy.
Yep, no doubt. He's got all the creds.
All right, so we're waiting for J.D. Vance to take the stage. I don't know, is that Anna Paulina Luna up there? Okay, Anna Paulina Luna. Do we want to take a little bit of her? She's usually pretty good. Do we want to listen to a little bit of Anna Paulina Luna here?
Sure.
Let's listen to a little bit of her.
Got a real quick story. A couple of years ago, I was with Turning Point USA, and at the time, I was a counter-trafficking activist. I'm a United States Air Force veteran. I'm Hispanic. I'm now a mom. And let me tell you, I want to make sure that our border is locked down and that children and women are not being hurt on either side.
We'll take the break.
My interaction with Kamala Harris is as follows. I walked up to her. She's running for president. I figured she might have solutions to the border crisis. And she asked me, do you want a selfie?
I saw this video today, actually, that she's talking about.
No, Kamala, I don't want a selfie. I want solutions. And she could not provide that. You know what she did? I said it to her face, and she ran away. Big Kamala talking a big game, can't take it to her face. She runs away from problems. Well, guess what? Kamala, you're never going to be president. Now, this is a pretty level-headed crowd. I have some questions for you guys. Do you guys think that it's acceptable that Kamala Harris did nothing when 85,000 children went missing under her watch as borders are? Do you think it's acceptable that that the trafficking, rape, and torture of Hispanic women and children, she turned a blind eye and did nothing. Would you ever tolerate that? Kamala Harris has zero motherly instincts. No mother, no parent would ever tolerate that. One child, even just one child, is too many.
All right, there's a little bit of Anna Paulina Luna. She's warming up the crowd there for J.D. Vance, who's going to take the stage here, we believe, here pretty soon. So we're going to take this break, and we'll be back. Try to sneak in a little sports as we wait for J.D. Vance to take the stage in Arizona, live from Studio 6B. We're back right after this.
All right, live from Studio 6B, Real America's Voice, turning you out now to Charlie Kirk, live.
Thank you. Who's ready to make Arizona red in November? I just want to first say thank you for all of you that went out and voted yesterday, chased ballots. We crushed on turnout yesterday, and I got to tell you, I personally am very, very happy that we retired the Maricopa County Recorder, Stephen Richer. Aren't you guys happy about that? This election is the most important of our lifetime. The civilization is at stake. It feels as if we have multiple elections. So we beat Joe Biden, and now we have to beat Kamala Harris. The media is in full freakout mode about this ticket. They understand what is going to happen if and when the people speak this November. Our border is going to be secure. We are going to drill, baby, drill. We're going to have peace in the Middle East. The Ukraine war will be over. You'll be able to afford groceries again and go on a vacation again with your kids and grandkids. And most importantly, the deep state bureaucrats that have been causing so much harm in this country, they know that we, the people, are going to be back in charge of this country in November. I'm traveling the country to college campuses so you don't have to. I am bringing the message of freedom, liberty, and trying to get every college kid I can to vote for President Trump and J.D. Vance this November. And our work is paying off. Data shows that young men are the most conservative they have been in 50 years. And understand that the younger generation, being the most depressed, suicidal, anxious, drug-addicted generation in history, they are being sold a nihilistic agenda from Kamala Harris and the Democrats. Vote for us and we'll just give you a little more free stuff. Young people want to be able to get married, have a family, own a home. They want their piece of the American dream. All of us here together, we understand that the inheritance given to us by the greatest generation, we have been spending it down. That the country we grew up in is largely unrecognizable, from the border, from crime, from inflation. And praise God that we have Donald Trump on a rescue mission to save this country and bring it back to greatness. But it involves all of us. President Trump is a symbol for a restoration of our government. He's a symbol for all of you that finally get to be back in the room to have a voice. D.C. has worked for the last 40 years against you because it has been people in both parties that have not listened to their constituents. We don't care if we send factories overseas. We don't care if we engage in endless and reckless wars. We don't care if we have mass migration. The reason they hate Donald Trump and J.D. Vance is they bring you into the room, that your voice is amplified, that your concerns are heard, that the forgotten man and woman of this country is forgotten no longer. Today we are here to rally behind Donald Trump's selection for Vice President J.D. Vance. I am proud to say that one of the first organizations and people to endorse J.D. Vance was right here in Arizona, Turning Point Action, and we put all of our support behind him when he was running for Senate in Ohio. When I first met J.D., I really got to know him. I said, this guy is sincere, running for the right reasons. And I saw something in him that I've been looking for in the political landscape. He lived the experience of the Trump voter. He came from a family that was not perfect. He came from a part of the world where they constantly said, we'll just send that factory to China. We'll shut down the local school. The muscular labor does not matter. And you could just import a bunch of plastic and a bunch of t-shirts from a foreign land and go leave your home city and go learn to code in New York City. Ohio, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and yes, many parts of Arizona were forgotten. But J.D. Vance has never forgotten where he came from. J.D. Vance understands all of you that can't afford groceries because he's been there. J.D. Vance knows what it's like to have rising crime in his neighborhood because he lived in those communities. J.D. Vance understands what it means when your family, your grandmother, who raised him, by the way, or mother, can't make ends meet and pay for the mortgage. He knows what it's like to not be able to take luxurious family vacations. And here he is, running for the Vice President of the United States, one of the most amazing American success stories ever that the media will never tell. That's okay. We're telling the story for him. We're telling the story for him. And he is a perfect complement to President Trump because they're both, in some ways, class traitors. J.D. Vance rose up, went to Yale, served in the Marine Corps. Any Marines here? There you go. Served his country wonderfully. And had a best-selling book, and he could have just been in a comfortable life, earning money in business. But he decided, like Donald Trump, to leave comfort and go into politics. And he is the perfect complement for President Trump. A family man who loves his country, who knows what it takes to deliver results for those of you that are struggling to pay for basic necessities and fundamentals. Someone who actually served in those wars that our DC political elite keep on declaring and forgetting who's actually on the front lines. I consider him a dear friend, and I believe he is going to be one of the main reasons we are going to see a victory this November. Join me in welcoming the next Vice President of the United States, Senator J.D. Vance.
Why don't we liberate these United States? We're the ones who need it worst. Let the rest of the world help us for change, and let's rebuild America first. Our highways and bridges are falling apart. Who's blessed and who has been cursed?
Thank you. Wow.
There's things.
It is great to be in Arizona. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Please, please, thank you all. It is so fantastic to be in Arizona. I.O. Thank you to Charlie Kirk. Isn't Charlie Kirk great? He's done so much for this state of this country. Well, in 96 days, my friends, we're going to take back our country and elect Donald J. Trump, President of the United States. And it's going to start right here in the great state of Arizona, right? Now, we have to remember, just over a month ago, President Trump wiped the floor with Joe Biden on the debate stage, exposing a massive cover-up of the president's mental incapacity, and he saved America from 4 more years of the disaster that is Joe Biden. Now, during that same time, remember this is just a month ago, President Trump accepted our party's nomination with overwhelming support. He held the most successful convention in history. He even took a bullet for the country he loves, but he didn't miss a single day of work. Now, President Trump did all of that in 1 month. Just imagine what he can do with 4 more years. Now, the media, of course, is going to do everything they can to stop that from happening. We have some of our illustrious media back there. It's okay. Some of them are okay, like 1 or 2. Now, this morning, President Trump attended the National Association of Black Journalists Conference in Chicago. Did you see all? Seemed like it was a lot of fun. But he did that because he's running to be president for all Americans. Now, he's already got record support from black voters, Hispanic voters, union workers, and many other Americans who have been lied to and betrayed by Kamala Harris and the fake news media. And this morning, unlike Kamala Harris, President Trump showed up and took some tough questions. The press treated him the same way they have since he came down that escalator in 2015. They were rude. They cut him off, and they didn't want to hear, much less report, the truth of what he said. So you guys want to hear that truth about Kamala Harris? Kamala Harris is a phony who caters to whatever audience is in front of her. I don't know if you saw this, but earlier this week, look up the clip. She went down to Georgia and started talking with a fake Southern accent. I'm serious. Now, what the hell was that all about? Kamala Harris grew up in Canada. They don't talk like that in Vancouver or Quebec or wherever she came from. Doesn't matter. It's the same new liberal policies, but a different accent, whoever she's talking to. Now, on November 5th, Now, on November 5th, she can go back to using her San Francisco accent because we are going to send her packing and we're going to elect Donald Trump President of the United States. Now, it's funny what Kamala Harris does, but what she has done to this country is not a laughing matter. Just today, I heard that the Biden-Harris Department of Justice cut a deal with al-Qaeda terrorist Khalid Sheikh Mohammed to avoid the death penalty. It was reported today. Now, as someone who enlisted in the Marines to serve after 9/11, that is ridiculous, but it's not surprising. Now, just think about the point that we've gotten to. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have weaponized the Department of Justice to go after their political opponents, but they're cutting a sweetheart deal with 9/11 terrorists. We need a president who kills terrorists, not negotiates with them. Now, the weakness of this administration, of Kamala Harris's administration, has been a disaster for our country all over the world. Now, there are so many examples we could talk about, but recent news comes out of Venezuela that they cut a deal with a dictator in Venezuela, and they offered in exchange that that dictator would have free and fair elections. And shocker, the Kamala Harris administration doesn't know anything about free and fair elections. So they're coddling dictators all over the world. We need to bring back American strength, and that means bringing back Donald J. Trump as President of the United States. Now, after covering up for Joe Biden's incompetence for 3.5 years, this is a scandal from both the Democrats and the media. Now they're gaslighting us about Kamala Harris's radical record. The media likes to portray her all of a sudden. She's a sensible moderate. That's what they say. Now, the same media that told us for 3.5 years Joe Biden, who couldn't finish a sentence, was Albert Einstein, now they tell us Kamala Harris is Abraham Lincoln. But anyone who is too blind to see Biden's incompetence, or more likely, too dishonest to admit it, is not fit to serve as our commander-in-chief. And the Democrat Party bosses, they've decided to install Kamala Harris as their new nominee. But think about this. She has not received a single vote for President of the United States. Now, the media calls this a coronation. I think we'd call it a coup. And in America, we don't crown our leaders. We vote for them. Now, I'm going to the border tomorrow, and her record of disaster is clear. 500,000 kids have been trafficked by the Mexican drug cartels because of her policies. Hundreds of thousands of our citizens are dead from fentanyl overdoses because of her policies. Hardworking Americans cannot afford groceries because of her policies. Now, the media wants to call her a moderate, but here's a fact check for the fake news. Kamala Harris was the most liberal senator in the entire United States Senate. She is a dangerous San Francisco liberal, and thanks to the people in this room, she is never going to be the President of the United States of America. Let us count the ways in which Kamala Harris has screwed up this country over the last 3.5 years. Now, they'll all lie to you about it, the media, but she was appointed the border czar and then unleashed the worst border crisis in the history of this country. On her watch, more than 10 million illegal aliens have invaded our country. And it wasn't by accident, it was by design. They said when they took office that they were going to do exactly what they did. They said they wanted to decriminalize illegal immigration and tear down immigrations and customs enforcement, open up the floodgates and give illegal aliens free health care, and she wanted you, the American citizens, to pay the bill. That's what she said, and then on her very first office, they went to work, but not for you, for them. They suspended deportations. They stopped building President Trump's wall. They reinstated catch and release, and that's how every state became a border state, because they just released these people into our country. Then they fly them first class, give them first-class hotel accommodations. You guys are paying for that, too. Then they proposed amnesty for illegal aliens. They might as well have sent hand-drawn invitations to millions of illegal immigrants all over the world, including, by the way, violent criminals and terrorists. The media lies to you about that, but don't let them. Now, the chief... There we go. We let one crazy person in out of a crowd of 1,000. That's not too bad, right? Now, what our friend out there doesn't want you to hear, but I'm going to say anyway, is that the chief of Border Patrol was appointed over a year ago. Our own border czar, Kamala Harris, hasn't spoken a single word to him. How does that make sense? Now, I served in the United States Marine Corps, ladies and gentlemen. My brothers and I, you know what we have? You know what we call that? We call that a dereliction of duty. And now she has the nerve to question the loyalty of me and Donald Trump. Did you see that? Well, here's a message to Kamala Harris. Here's what Donald Trump and I believe about loyalty to this country. Loyalty to this country is closing the border, not opening it up. Loyalty is safeguarding Medicare for American citizens, not bankrupting it by giving it to illegal aliens. Loyalty is protecting Laken Riley, not inviting the illegal immigrant who killed her and took her life. Loyalty is protecting our children from fentanyl, not inviting the drug cartels to deal it in our playgrounds. Loyalty is serving in the United States Marine Corps, something I am proud of. Loyalty is taking a bullet for this country, something Donald J. Trump did. If Kamala Harris wants to see the face of disloyalty, she can look in the damn mirror. This is a great crowd. But Kamala Harris, let's keep on going, handed out 3 million work permits to illegal aliens who lied and claimed asylum in this country. That turns a blind eye to fraudsters who are destroying American jobs, union and non-union alike, and undercutting the wages of American workers. And I guarantee you, if the failed border czar becomes the president of the United States, she is going to give every single illegal immigrant the right to vote, going to destroy your nation and your say in your own country. And I've got a different message, my friends. If you are in this country, start packing your bags, because Donald Trump is coming back and he's going to send you home. My friends, it is time to put the interests of the citizens first. The interests of American citizens should be the priority of our leadership. That used to be common sense. We may have disagreed with the Democrats 20 years ago, but they at least agreed that we're supposed to put the interests of our citizens first. Now, we are grateful to have some great Republican leadership in the state of Arizona and all across our country who are committed to this basic principle that our leaders should care about our own citizens. So I'm going to give a shout out to a few of them. Arizona Republican Chairwoman Gina Swoboda. Where's Gina? There's Gina. We got Glendale Mayor Jerry Weirs. Where's Jerry? Jerry. We have got some great congressmen in the state of Arizona. We've got Eli Crane. Where's Eli? Andy Biggs. I saw Andy earlier. Where's Andy? Where's Paul Gosar? Love Paul Gosar. We've got a great congresswoman in this district, I believe, Debbie Lesko. There's Debbie. She's not from Arizona, but she is a superstar. Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna. We heard from her earlier. There she is. We've got Arizona State Senate President Warren Peterson. Where's Warren? Warren. We've got State Senator Janae Shamp. Where's Janae? Now, I met Janae earlier, and she said, I said, Janae, call me JD. And she said, I'm not going to do that. I said, okay, Janae, in a few months, you can call me Mr. Vice President. How's that sound? Is that all right? Now, before I call up our next guest, I want to just point out what an incredible blessing it is to have a future United States Senator who actually cares about this country and is dedicating to putting its interests first. Now, the reason we know she's awesome is because the fake news lies about her as much as anybody else in this country. She just won her primary, though it wasn't in doubt. Carrie Lake, can you please come on up here?
Oh my goodness. Thank you for that introduction. I love you too. Guys, I'm so excited. I've got goosebumps because I realize what's about to happen in our country. We're about to get America back. And this mama bear is ready to get America back. I don't know about you guys. I got to tell you a quick story about Senator Vance. When I was thinking about running, I decided I wanted to go and talk to some people who are in the Senate. And did you know you were the first senator I talked to? Remember that day in your office? He invited me into his office, and he said, Carrie, you're going to hate the swamp. But because I know you're going to hate the swamp, we need you in the swamp. We need people who don't love Washington, D.C. to go to Washington, D.C. I'm not going there to make a whole bunch of lobby. I don't want to make any lobbyist friends. I got enough friends in Arizona. And I want to go there and be a senator much like Senator Vance has been. Somebody who votes for America First policy, even if he's getting the stink eye from some of the swampier people in the swamp. Right? We don't want someone in Washington, D.C. who's going to get there and cave to the lobbyist and the D.C. swamp. We got to have fighters in D.C. I love J.D. Vance because he's in this because he loves his family. He knows the future of this country. We're at a crossroads right now. We either save this country, or as one of our favorite presidents, Ronald Reagan, said, we plunge into 1,000 years of darkness. This man's not going to let us plunge into 1,000 years of darkness. I told all of you when I spoke earlier, we have 3.5 months to fight what 3.5 years of Biden and Kamala have done to this country. And I think you can see the enthusiasm. I think we're going to win this one, don't you? Yeah. Let's do everything in our power to get President Trump and J.D. Vance as President and Vice President and Carrie Lake as U.S. Senator. Let's go, Arizona! Let's go, Arizona! Trump, Vance, 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 Trump.
Wow. You guys are so lucky to get to vote for Carrie Lake to be your next United States Senator. Wow. Just amazing. God bless you, ma'am. We do have some Ohio representation in this room, right? Now, here's one of the reasons I love Carrie Lake. You heard her talk about the lobbyists in the swamp. For decades, politicians in Washington have sold out our country. When multinational corporations called their offices with those lobbyists, Carrie, they traded American jobs for campaign cash. Now, they'd never admit this, of course. They wouldn't put it like that. They'd brag about trade deals and promise cheap products. They called it globalization, and that's what it was. American jobs went to some other part of the globe instead of staying here for our own citizens. And if it's up to Kamala Harris, it's going to keep on happening. She voted to preserve NAFTA, the very trade deal that sent American jobs to Mexico and turned American dreams into nightmares. And now, she wants a promotion. Well, I think it's time to tell Kamala Harris, you're fired. I want the American dream as a goal for our children, and you never hear politicians talk about the American dream anymore. 4 years ago, you did. And 4 years from now, we're going to make more and more of those American dreams a reality. We are going to bring it back, bring the American dream back, build upon it, and fight for it. So let's talk a little bit about what we believe in this room and what we believe on this ticket. We believe that 1 million cheap plastic toys from China isn't worth a single American manufacturing job. We believe that we're going to rebuild American factories, rebuild the American dream, and stamp more and more products with Made in the USA. Now, I've seen the consequences of electing failed politicians like Kamala Harris. I've seen it in my own hometown. Because more often than not, it's the ones the Bible calls the least of these who suffer the most under Kamala Harris's policies. Now, some of you know a little bit about my background and my biography, but I grew up in a town that was really struggling thanks to the failed politicians in Washington. And I was able to achieve my dreams. I was able to go to school and join the Marine Corps and build a beautiful family. I've got a beautiful wife and 3 beautiful kids, and that was my American dream. It was always to be a good husband and a good dad. Thank you. Now, people ask, why did it work out for you? And a little bit of it's luck. A little bit of it is that we live in the greatest country in the world where big dreams are still possible, whatever side of the tracks you grew up on. But a little of it, if I'm being honest, is because I had a tough old bird, my grandmother, I called her Mamaw, who stood by me every step of the way. Now, I remember there's so many stories I could tell about Mamaw, but one of my favorites is when I enlisted in the United States Marine Corps. Mamaw was very proud of me, but it was 2003, a time of war. She was not exactly excited about her youngest grandchild going to serve in the Marines. So when the recruiter came over to tell her what boot camp was going to be like, he started to walk up the steps to her porch, and she said, "If you step one more foot on my porch, I'm going to blow it off." And she had 19 handguns at home. That was not an idle threat. So I had a strong woman who made me who I am and gave me the opportunities that I've had. And I know there are a lot of strong grandmas and a lot of strong moms out there. Now, I want to talk about another strong woman, a woman we heard from at the RNC convention. Sarah Workman inspired all of us at the RNC with a story of faith and resilience. So we remember Sarah's story? Y'all watch that? It was amazing. She's a proud Arizonan and a great supporter of President Trump. And Sarah, if you would, I hope I'm not embarrassing, I'd love if you come and said a few words. Let's give Sarah a round of applause.
Oh, boy. Thank you, JD. Oh, wow. God is a trip, and that is my LA lingo for you. Okay. I've been very inspired by JD's story because it's one, I haven't personally had parents struggle with it, but my ex-husband has for almost 9 years now. And I have an 11-year-old son named Elliot. And so we've walked a really long, dark road dealing with his addiction and, our divorce and all of that. But God is faithful. And I'm so thankful that we have Donald Trump and JD as examples for us, as people to represent us against, again, how I said earlier, that this is a battle of good and evil. And I'm so grateful. Again, JD is the American dream. His story is the American dream. It gives me hope to keep moving forward and be encouraged. I hope all of us are encouraged because Donald Trump and JD Vance are going to make America great again. So give it up for JD.
Wow. So I had to follow Carrie Lake, and now I've got to follow Sarah. That is a tough act, isn't it? But look, what an amazing story. Thank you so much for sharing it with us. And I want to talk a little bit about just the American dream, because it is under threat in our country. And when I talk about going from a poor family in Ohio to standing up here before all of you, what a great example of what this country makes possible, that I'm here asking to be your next Vice President of the United States, isn't it? I mean, isn't that such a cool thing? But I hate to say this, because Kamala Harris is such a disaster that the dreams we have for our country and for our families, they are on the ballot in November. And this is why we have got to re-elect Donald J. Trump, President of the United States. We've got to do everything that we can to get President Trump over that finish line. The contrast could not be more clear. Kamala Harris's vision is for closed factories and open borders. It's a government so big it can tell you what to do, but bank accounts that are getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Now, Donald Trump delivered. Not just talked about it. This isn't just his vision, it's what he actually did. He delivered rising wages and a strong border. What an amazing track record to run on. Kamala Harris wants to ban fracking and buy energy from every dictator around the world. Donald Trump wants to drill, baby, drill. Get American energy from American workers in American land. Kamala Harris wants to raise your taxes and make it easier to ship jobs to China and to Mexico. Donald Trump wants to lower the taxes for hardworking Americans and reward the companies that hire American and build American. Kamala Harris wants to defund the police and the violent criminals who make our streets less safe. Donald Trump, he's going to lock up the bad guys and back the blue, which is what all of us in this room believe. Now, I want to speak to all of you in the audience and anybody watching who's struggling today. If you're scraping by instead of thriving, I know what that feels like. I know what it's like to choose between paying off the credit card debt or buying groceries. I know what it's like to watch families fall apart under financial stress. And I know what it's like to worry that a parent will never kick that habit, that fear that the habit they have, whether it's drugs or alcohol, is going to eventually claim their life. But I also know that our national motto is "In God we trust," and God tells us to hope and not despair. And while the media loves to lie about this movement and this party, this movement of ours is about a very simple idea: that we love this country enough to fight for a better future for our kids and our grandkids. That's it. It's simple. And we all know in this room that the best way to give our people hope for the future, the best way to preserve that American dream, the best way to give our kids that better life is to re-elect Donald J. Trump, President of the United States. And Kamala Harris, she offers to lead us to a place of despair. So let me ask you, do we want open borders in this country? Do we want to bankrupt Medicare by giving it to illegal aliens? Do we want to defund the police? Do we want to ban fracking? Do we want a dangerous San Francisco liberal like Kamala Harris? Instead, in just a few months, Arizona is going to lead a great American restoration, a restoration of American safety, of American prosperity, and American hope. We're going to secure our border and stop the endless flow of drugs and crime into our communities. We're going to bring down the cost of food and housing so that young Americans can afford to start a family and put that family in a beautiful home. We're going to end the radical environmentalist nonsense and restore American energy dominance. We are going to turn this country into a manufacturing superpower once again. We're going to cut taxes for working families, including on tips for our servers and on Social Security for our seniors. We're going to secure peace through strength and make sure our allies do their part. We will, in short, make America great again. It's going to start in Arizona and spread like wildfire all across our country. Let's go elect Donald J. Trump, President of the United States. God bless you all, and thank you so much. I love you, Arizona. Thank you for having me.
All right, there you go. J.D. Vance in Arizona, Glendale, Arizona. Second night in a row we've got to hear from the vice presidential candidate for President Trump. J.D. Vance brought a couple people up. A little different tonight. Brought some people to the stage.
Good energy.
He's fired up, passionate guy, normal guy. Good stuff from the vice presidential candidate. When we have David Zier, we'll go back out to him, get his thoughts on the speech, the feeling of the crowd there, kind of what's going on in the room, and maybe we'll hear. We'll see if David wants to play his interview that he did with J.D. Vance today with audio, I guess, on the plane. So we'll maybe get to that. What'd you think, Rick Delgado?
I thought he did a better job tonight than he did last night. Not to knock last night, but first rally jitters maybe. A little more comfortable tonight. I think it's going to be one of those things. As he does more of these and gets out there, you're going to see this guy start to really open up. He's going to start to really connect. I think more. I mean, Slick was saying it. As we were while he was on, he says he likes his message. He feels like he connects with people. I think he's going to start to make that connection more and more. Again, as his comfortability kind of grows and he starts to feel like, okay, I can do this. Because no matter what, I mean, yeah, the guy's got an incredible story. He was a Marine. He did this. He was a senator. Yeah. He did all these things. I'm sure it still has to be a bit intimidating to now be launched into this position. So, call it what you will. I mean, you're as cool as a cucumber, maybe on the outside, but on the inside, he's probably still freaking out a lot. And again, I think over time, he's really going to start to kind of grow into this. I think we saw the first step tonight.
Slick?
Definitely. He's become very relatable. He relates to the audience, what I was saying earlier, with his stories. He connects with the middle class, the lower middle class, and the low class. He's kind of walked the whole gamut. So much better tonight. I agree with Rick. I think he's finding his comfort zone. He's getting into the batter's box, and he's getting his cleats in there. He's swinging his bat, and he's taking some good strokes. I thought that was a very good speech tonight. Much better than last night. He's come a long way, and I think he'll continue to grow. And certainly we're in his corner. We want to see him do well. He's a very critical component to President Trump.
Yeah. Well, it'll be very interesting. And again, we don't know what's going to happen on Tuesday. But if Shapiro is the pick, I'll tell you, the vice presidential side of this, and I know people say, in the end, the vice presidential pick's not going to mean all that much to the top of the ticket. And then maybe that's true. It doesn't sway it hard one way or the other. But I'll tell you, Vance and Shapiro, both Rust Belt guys, Ohio, Pennsylvania, 2 critical states, that will be very interesting. It really will be interesting. I mean, even if nothing else for the debate, that should really be interesting. 2 younger guys that both parties are looking at as possibly the future of their party. So I think if that's the way we go, we'll be very interesting. So let's go back out now to Arizona. David Zier has been on the ground. He was in the room listening to the speech. Mr. Zier, give me your thoughts of what you heard from J.D. Vance tonight.
The forgotten man isn't forgotten. It was a very down-to-earth, working-class speech. I think he's making that connection with the American people on battleground states today in Real Clear Politics aggregate. Trump-Vance is up about 4.5 in the aggregate of the battleground state polls. So it could be a good strategy. We have to see. Big day for Carrie Lake here. And the crowd was fired up. It was thunderous in here. People are, looking for a message, I think, because they're all struggling to put food on the table and choosing. Like he said, I've had to choose between rent and food. So it was pretty powerful. I wanted to throw to my audio-only press gaggle on Trump-Force 2 for you guys. I got a question in for him, and he was pretty good and very sharp. So let's listen.
All right, hey guys. Well, it's good to see everybody, and we're thrilled to be here in Phoenix. We're going to have a great rally. I, of course, have heard about the president's comments, heard around the world. I frankly just think it's hysterical how much the media is overreacting to it. The president, which is one of the good things about him, the president doesn't do scripted BS stuff. He actually goes into hostile audiences. He answers tough questions, pushes back against them, but he actually answers them. And how nice it is to have an American leader who's not afraid to go into hostile places and actually answer some tough questions. So what he said I thought was hysterical. I think he pointed out the fundamental chameleon-like nature of Kamala Harris. I mean, you guys saw it yesterday. She was in Georgia, and she put on a Southern accent for a Georgia audience. She grew up in Vancouver. What the hell is going on here? She is not who she pretends to be. She's flip-flopped on every issue. She's fake. She's phony. And I think our whole campaign is going to have a very fun time pointing that out. And it sounds like the president kicked us off in stride today. So any questions before we hit the rallies?
Yes. What did you think of, and I quote, when he said, documented historically, the VP in terms of the election does not have any impact. What's your reaction, and do you agree with him?
And sorry, what outlet are you from?
Fox News, but I'm pool.
Okay, great. Look, well, my reaction to that is that's what the president said a year ago. That's what the president said a few months ago. That's what the president said to me privately when he was thinking about selecting me or somebody else. And it's just true. Most people are going to vote for Kamala Harris or for Donald Trump. I think the political reality is that the vice president is there to help the president govern once he's elected, and God forbid to be there if something terrible happens to the president. But politically, people are going to vote for Donald Trump or vote for Kamala Harris. He's always said that. He continues to say it.
Senator David Zier, Real America's Voice News. I didn't introduce myself earlier.
Yeah, good to see you, David.
You too. Your message, your working class message, and the no taxes on tips, will that put you over the top in Nevada and the Rust Belt states where it's close?
Well, I think so. And by the way, Nevada, David, they get really pissed off in Nevada
yes,
if you say Nevada. I know that as a Midwesterner. Where are you from?
New York.
Okay, yeah. So those of us further east are tempted to say Nevada, but it is Nevada, as I've learned. Look, the thing I'll say about this is President Trump is pursuing tax policy for working families. He's talking about eliminating taxes on Social Security, which will help our seniors living on a fixed income. He's talking about eliminating taxes on tips, which of course is going to help a lot of servers in Nevada, but elsewhere as well. Look, do I think it's a politically powerful argument? Absolutely I do, but I think most importantly is we want to relieve the tax burden on working families in this country who are suffering under the crushing affordability crisis of Kamala Harris.
What do you make? You mentioned that you described the vice president as a chameleon like. Do you question whether she's black?
Well, Henry, what I question is why she presents a different posture depending on which audience that she's in front of. She'll say one thing to one audience, she'll say another thing to another audience, she'll say something totally different to another audience. I mean, just in the past 2 days, she went from wanting to ban fracking to not banning fracking. She said she wanted to defund police, now she doesn't want to defund police. She puts on a southern accent in Georgia and a totally different accent in California. I think she's a chameleon, and all the president said is, this is a person who switches identity like a normal person changes their clothes. I think it's totally proper to call that out.
What do you make of Democrats and then kind of hanging on to this, that Republicans are weird and that everything's weird? I mean, what do you make of that messaging?
Well, I think if you want to give sex hormone therapies to 9-year-olds, it maybe is kind of weird if you're a father and you're happily married to your wife and you just want to promote common sense policies in the country. Look, I'm not gonna sweat it. If the Democrats want to call me weird, they're welcome to. I think to most Americans, I'm just a normal human being who wants to make the country better, and that's what we're going to push all across the country over the next 4 months, 3 months. Great. See you guys. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, there you go, J.D. Vance. We were earlier on Trump Force 2. David Zier got a question in there about tax on tips and the Rust Belt. You know, David, for me, the answer on the whole, I don't know who the guy was. Do you think she's black? You know, for me, the answer is I don't care if she's black, Asian, Chinese, white, yellow, brown, gray. What I'm most concerned about is that she's a Marxist and borderline communist to the left of Bernie Sanders. That's what I care most about. What do you think?
I think you're right. That is paramount, right? The issue is, and it doesn't matter who's running on the Dem side, right? Because they're going to push through this progressive leftist Marxist agenda. But I will say that, like Trump will say, MAGA is common sense. And I think J.D. Vance, if he sticks to that message, he'll gain a lot of points. But Kamala does play the race card. You know, it's not as bad as Hillary carrying hot sauce in her purse. But she does play it. I mean, they were twerking on stage yesterday. It's crazy what's going on here. They are catering. And I got to tell you, by the way, Damon, it was 110 degrees here. These people didn't care. They tell me it's a dry heat, and I said, so is a convection oven. But these people didn't care. They were fired up. They're on their feet. And it was just a very positive trip across Nevada, California, Arizona. And I just wanted to add, Damon, you'd appreciate this. You know, he's raising big money in Silicon Valley and in Coalinga, California today. People coming out, Democrats. And you know, Howard Lutnick last week, who supported Obama and Clinton, came out, who lost 650 plus employees out of 900 in Cantor Fitzgerald in the World Trade Center, said we got to crush global jihad. These are people who, with big money, who are supporting Democrats. Very positive for Trump-Vance right now.
David, you brought up Cantor Fitzgerald and 9/11. I can't let you go without asking you about the U.S. government reaching a plea agreement with some of the masterminds behind 9/11. What did you think when you read that?
I think it's heinous and disgusting. And there's 70,000 people with cancer and breathing problems who, out of the 410,000 responders, first responders who came through the crash sites across the country, and 7,000 of them are dead already. Shame on them.
Yeah. All right, David Zier, safe travels. Continue on with the J.D. Vance campaign. Great stuff as always. Thanks for joining us. David Zier out there in Arizona with J.D. Vance tonight.
Thank you.
It's been a great day of coverage here on Real America's Voice. You all just joined us for J.D. Vance. If you were getting home from work or you missed out earlier on, we, of course, covered President Donald Trump, who was fired up tonight. And if you missed it, here's a little recap of that. Aaron, roll it.
President Trump's rally happening right now in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
We are in the Rust Belt. I do see a shift.
It is a full house. President Trump is going to be speaking.
Ton of buzz going out in Pennsylvania. It's one of the battleground states that's going to decide this election in November.
Pennsylvania will be the key.
The world needs President Trump, and so does our great Commonwealth.
60% of Pennsylvanians live paycheck to paycheck.
This is about saving our republic.
This is ground zero. We are not going to let Harris win.
She is a radical. I hope that you will fight so that we save our country.
She served as the border czar and let millions and millions of illegal immigrants come into the country.
Let's elect Donald J. Trump and J.D. Vance,
the 47th President of the United States.
restored, the flame of liberty will be burning bright, and we will make America great again. Thank you, Pennsylvania. God bless you.
All right, there you go. Great stuff from Real America's Voice. If you missed the coverage, we're going to do it all again this weekend. Trump's on the road again, rally, I believe, on Saturday. So it's busy, so make sure you tune into Real America's Voice. All the best coverage. Showing you things that no one else has shown you. Crowd, Trump, great reaction, talking to the people. Everybody on the ground does a great job, whether it's Tara, Jack today, David Zier, everybody. Great job on the ground. Great job from Parker and all the crew as well. So just... make sure you lock it in on Real America's Voice. Always great coverage. So, all right, before we wrap it up for a Wednesday, Rick Delgado, anything else? We talked about the Trump and the NABJ this afternoon going in there. Any other news? Well, obviously the biggest news is the video.
Excuse me?
The video that dropped today of the shooter running across the top of the roof, which... Again, I keep saying this. I'm looking for something that says to me, okay, got it. Yeah, still haven't found it.
Yeah.
I keep digging my heels in deeper every time I find something.
And you keep thinking to yourself, I can't believe I'm going to need a Team Chemtrails t-shirt. Because that's essentially what you're talking about, right? All this time, people
I
are
actually don't think I am, because I don't. That's usually for things I think are really like out there.
Right, but when when this first broke, a lot of people were like, how did a kid, get up there and outsmart all these security, the Secret Service, the vaunted Secret Service? And then you find out, well, it's almost like you left the door open, or the keys in the car with the car running and the doors wide open, and you ran inside to go, food shopping for about an hour.
Little invitation.
And don't expect anybody to go, free car, keys inside, I think I'll take it.
Tempting.
It's the dumbest thing I think I've ever seen. And when that video came out, and I saw you post it, I'm like, you got... I can't say what I said because it has the word S and it has an H and a T in it. But you can't make this up. You can't make it up. You can't be... People, if you pitch this as a movie and said, here's what we're going to do. We got a great pitch. The guy's going to be on the roof. You're going to be able to see him. Every movie producer will be like, no, this is stupid. Why would we ever do that? It's supposed to be hidden. You're not supposed to be able to see. It's supposed to unwind and all. But this is like right in your face. This is insane. It's just crazy. I don't know. Other than that, the deal with the Biden administration's DOD and the Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, that was a big story. Yeah, let's just slide that one out because we've got all this positive press from Kamala. We got Trump doing this over here. We got Kamala over here. Everybody's paying attention over here. Let's slide this one out. Hopefully nobody notices. Yeah. Well, we're noticing.
Yeah. Crazy. Just crazy. Yeah. Both of those things are just crazy on the Richter scale. All right, so sorry we didn't get much sports tonight, but before we wrap it up, give us a little bit of what's going on. Anything?
Well, pretty soon the odds makers is going to be sliding in tomorrow night. The NFL season will open with preseason. Yeah, well, preseason, Delgado, in Canton, Ohio.
Well, we're going to pick preseason.
Well, we'll do it. Texans and Bears tomorrow night. We got an 8 o'clock. We'll be on the show tomorrow night. We'll be able to broadcast the game.
First odds makers tomorrow night.
Here we go.
Wow.
It'll be unbearable. Here we go. Come on. And let's get a couple of quick Major League Baseball scores. We'll skip that Cubs and Reds game because they got hammered, the Reds. But we're going to get to the Pirates and Astros. Astros lead that game 5-4, top of the 7th. Bottom 4th, the Padres over the Dodgers 7-1. Rockies lead the Angels 1-0, top 2. Bottom 1st, no score, Athletics and Giants. Earlier today, the Marlins down the Rays 6-2. Yankees top the Phillies. Rick smiling 6-5. Orioles over the Blue Jays 10-4. And the Twins down the Mets 8-3. Braves top the Brewers 6-2. Royals pound the White Sox 10-3. Cardinals annihilate the Rangers 10-1. 5-4 Diamondbacks over the Nats, and the Red Sox edge the Mariners 3-2 in a 10-inning game. NBA, well, not NBA, but Olympic gold medal basketball here. Here we go. United States 103-86 over South Sudan. I don't want to be too prolific, but I think the NBA will win the gold there. But they did down them pretty well there. They were favored by 29, no big D, and well, they didn't win by 29 points today. Bam Adebayo had led all scorers with 18 points for the United States Olympic team, and that's about it. We don't have time for a story, so that's a wrap.
All right, so we'll do some more sports. Back to a regular show tomorrow night. I think Kevin's going to join us tomorrow night and on Friday as well.
Great.
So the great Kevin Downey Jr. will be here. And, of course, Slick, Delgado, myself, tomorrow night. And we will see you then. As always, we salute our military, active and inactive, police, firefighters, first responders, EMTs, all emergency personnel. Guys on the show, great job. Aaron Friend, great job as always putting these rallies together. Parker and the whole team at Real America's Voice, great job as always. Ben Berkwam, David Zier, Dahl, Jack Posobiec, everybody that's on the ground always does a great job. We will see you tomorrow night, folks, 8 p.m. right here live from Studio 6B.